cigars all around. Cheers, y'all.
Well. Oh, that makes it a party. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to this fine radio program, podcast, and video extravaganza known internationally as the world-famous Smokin' and Toastin'. We are so glad to have you here for show number 226. We will be talking today about the science of beer goggles and trying new and soon-to-be famous cocktails from the Ready Room.
Awesome.
Peter and Cody are here. Welcome, guys.
Glad to be back.
Welcome back. So nice. Yes, nice to have you here in the studio. We have a lot to catch up on. What's been going on with you guys? How you have survived the pandemic as a bar. Everybody we've had on has had really interesting stories of, the ways they've had to jump through different hoops to stay alive and stay relevant when things slowed down. And as things are beginning to creep back now, what are the plans for the future? And I know part of yours is publishing a book of cocktails.
Absolutely.
Which is super exciting. So we want to talk about that. We'll be trying some of those cocktails today. And then we'll get into the details on it in a bit, but you've also got this other sort of brewing kind of venture going as well, right?
It's the latest sensation in the nation.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And, well,
Nicely put.
It really is. Different types of beverages than are normally in the, cocktail and mixed drink and alcohol spectrum are becoming a big thing. And in your case, it's tea.
It is tea and hops.
Tea and hops. So you brew tea to begin with, but when you brew it with hops, that can make everything very interesting. So we'll be sampling some of that today too.
That you will.
Awesome. Really excited. Speaking of hops, some interesting beers, I think, on the show today. From Great Heights Brewing in the Heights here in Houston. We'll be trying their lagerish Kolsch. I always have trouble saying the word Kolsch. It's not a lager, but it's a Kolsch that is, because a Kolsch is an ale. Mm-hmm. So it's a lager-ish Kolsch, and that's why they call it lagerish. So that should be interesting. It's already an interesting concept.
I don't think I've tried anything from Greater Heights.
And I think we're working on having them actually come on the show sometime soon because they're a relative newcomer to the Houston brewing scene.
It just occurred to me. I don't think I've tried anything from Greater Heights that wasn't an IPA.
Did we have an IPA? Okay.
No, but a friend of mine had some.
Okay. See, you have friends with good taste. And then from Mikerphone, not microphone, but Mikerphone Brewing out of Elk Grove Village in Illinois. We'll be trying this is the first beverage or product of any kind other than like T-shirts and normal, band gear that I have seen that appears to be a tribute to the band Foreigner. It's nice. The name of the beer. It's a double IPA. It's called That One Guitar, which is a line from a Foreigner song.
I was expecting Feels Like the First Time. But
yeah,
okay.
Right. Yeah. Well, there's a number of ways you could have go. I want to know what hops is. Lots of different things you could have done.
That would have been great.
But in this case, and you'll see this can when we break it out, the logo of That One Guitar on the can is a very Foreigner-ish logo. You'll recognize it immediately. So anyway, you'll look forward to it. Of all bands, Foreigner. I mean, now I will tell you, I saw Foreigner in one of their revised lineups at this like free 4th of July concert when I lived in Philadelphia, and my expectations weren't high. Because Lou Gramm, the lead singer, wasn't with the band anymore, and several of the other members.
And that guy has a very distinctive voice.
Yes, he is. He does. Except the guy they replaced him with sounds more like Lou Gramm than Lou Gramm ever did. And guess who the drummer was? The drummer was Jason Bonham.
Nice.
So I was in like full geek mode the whole time because I got to meet Jason Bonham.
Could not fight this feeling.
Not anymore. Oh, that's a different band. Sorry.
Oh.
Anyway, but did I mix
80s?
You were mixing your
power
80s power pop rock metaphors. Anyway, they were quite good, and I didn't care at that point.
That's right. That was already a Speedway.
I was just excited to watch Jason Bonham play drums. Anyway, also from Alesong Brewing, we've had some of their beers on before. We'll be trying their Rackhouse Reserve. It's a blended ale aged in Kentucky bourbon barrels from Alesong out of Eugene, Oregon. So lots to get to today on the show. Drinking news, of course, will be here. Our drinking news teaser headline today is "That fragrance is lovely." Boom. So there's your
Nice.
there's your
and starting in on the comments, Nick Cook says, and now I have hot blood stuck in my head.
Oh, see, and I apologize for that. But I could always replace it with "I want to know what love is."
And then he
something.
teases me for quoting a REO Speedwagon.
Well,
song.
yeah, and that's probably well deserved. So
Probably is.
So anyway,
I've seen them live.
it's legal to smoke again in cigar lounges in Michigan, so we have something to celebrate today.
That's a good thing.
Yeah, we'll talk about that. Plus, we'll talk about new cigars to watch for, and we're going to do our best to scientifically explain the concept of beer goggles.
I am excited about that.
I don't know.
Having worn beer goggles before.
Yeah, I don't know how scientific it'll actually be because the explanation first appeared on TikTok. So I don't know if you can actually be scientific on TikTok or not, but apparently there's a lot going on there. I guess we probably need.
I think credibility gets lost as soon as you say TikTok.
Yeah, I was wondering if we should set up a Smoking and Toasting TikTok page, but don't your videos all have to go away? Am I thinking? No, I'm thinking of Snapchat.
Yep.
Yeah. I was going to set up a Snapchat page because I thought, what could be better? What could give the show more credibility than it actually disappearing after like 2 minutes or whatever? That would be absolutely
now.
perfect. Yeah, watch it now or never.
The TikToks, what all the Utes are watching.
Yeah, and see my see that's my cousin Vinny reference. That's good. No, but
It's
to
all
me,
80s today.
In
It's
my
just
brain,
all 80s.
in my brain, of course, I'm old, but in my brain, I think of TikTok and I think of people dancing to other people's songs and making a video of it and post. That's why I've never really spent any time on TikTok because, that reminds me of like when you go to a concert and the guy next to you is singing at the top of his lungs, and I'm like, dude, I didn't just pay $45 to hear you.
See, that's 80s because
Yeah.
it's a lot more than $45 now.
You're absolutely right. See? I guess our theme
Actually,
for the
80s
show.
would have been more like $25.
Yeah, man. I went to plenty of shows in the '80s for like $12.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I think it's going to be a great show. And Peter, we're so glad to have you guys back today. And I'm really curious about what's going on at the Ready Room because you guys really just had it kind of hitting its stride, I think, when the pandemic hit, and it's like that had to just be like. Did you sit down and hold strategy sessions? What did you do?
I'm gonna let you answer that question.
Well, yeah, essentially.
Yeah,
But
it's like, what are we gonna do, right?
Well, we still had to stay busy with Ritual right next door. We were helping them out with their drive-through, so we were kind of shifted on that. But when we actually got to sit down and talk about it, we were like, well, how do we strategize? How do we get through? How do we survive? Is it to go? Is it however? So there were plenty of nights.
When you're really kind of known for specialty cocktails, that's just not something that it's one thing to say I'm going to swing by my favorite local brewery and pick up a couple of six packs and take them home. It's another mentality altogether to go, I'm going to go get a really handcrafted cocktail and manage to make it home with it before I even enjoy it. It's just I'm not saying it can't or shouldn't be done, but it's just a different
different
mindset.
animal.
Yeah.
So that's a whole different level of commitment, I think.
Right, absolutely.
Like from a consumer standpoint.
Well, yes and no. I mean, I think it drove that demand higher because people were at home going, well, I haven't had that mojito or I haven't had whatever cocktail. I just want to go back and have one.
My wife is one of those people. She loves all kinds of different spirits and drinks and things like that, and she will get it in her head that I want, and it'll be some random thing. I want this. Damn it! And then we have to go hunt it down.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Wait in line or something.
Which can be hard enough to do during normal times, but if it's if it's when bars are all at lower capacity or not even open at all, except for carryout, it can be real much tougher. So, one of the things that certainly has happened to me is I've tried making more cocktails at home, and what that has taught me is I can't wait until I'm going back out and tasting cocktails that are not made by me. Because, I got a couple down, but, try anything even remotely fancy, and I tap out.
I try to get that Chris Morris shake where he does the whole
Oh, yeah.
up and down and
yeah,
back
that
and
one.
forth.
Yeah.
It's pretty wild. But I look like I'm having a seizure when I'm doing that.
Yeah.
A lot of people do.
So I did learn, we had Highway Vodka guests on, Ben and Cody from Highway Vodka, and they did teach us how to make that Pineapple Express, which I made at home. The first one was pretty good. The second one was even better. So I was really, but that's like one of the simplest, easiest cocktails to make, so it's hard to screw up.
One of the things I've learned about mixing drinks at home is the first one can be good or bad. The second one's always better.
Well, that's
and the
true.
third one,
Yeah.
The third one is
you
even
get where
better.
this is going.
Yeah, absolutely. Pineapple Express is basically about a third to a half vodka, a generous amount of grapefruit juice, and
Some lime.
some lime, and pineapple juice. Did I say
Pineapple
grapefruit
juice.
juice?
Yeah, pineapple
it's
juice.
pineapple juice, not grapefruit
Lime.
juice. So it's vodka, pineapple juice, a little bit of lime, some simple syrup, and then you
Just a
kind of
little
top
splash
it
of
off with
the,
a splash of Red Bull, or I think you could probably just use anything.
Anything
Carbonated, to give it a little
zing.
fuzz. But it's very tropical and quite good and easy
It's definitely easy to drink.
because when you go to the ready room and you're looking at the way that the drinks are made, you go like, where do you get Mongolian basil? I'm
Back
making
alley
that
over at our
making that up,
restaurant,
but it's like I don't just have that sitting around in the refrigerator,
Sure.
So that can be tough. But anyway, so excited to hear about this book of cocktails, and hopefully there will be some of them that will be easy enough for me to make. If
absolutely.
if I try it, so we'll look forward to finding out more about that and to explore just what it's like to manage a bar in these crazy times and try to talk people into coming back out and trying some cocktails. Ian, I know I've had a pretty wild week, but I assume you have as well, and at least had an opportunity to find something to smoke that you can talk to us about.
I scrounged through my humidor. I've been stocking it up with lawnmowers a bunch recently. And that's just FYI, lawnmowers or any cigars like $4 and under.
Yeah, that's
actually
appropriate
can
for
be-
smoking when you're mowing the lawn,
Yeah.
as opposed to sitting down and really savoring. Yeah,
But I do have a couple other cigars in there, and I picked one out that I've been hanging on to for just a little while. I picked out a CAO Bones. I sat on my back patio today, and the CAO Bones is interesting. This was the chicken foot, which is what they call their 5x54 size.
that's a Sammy Hagar band too.
Right?
Chicken foot, right? Yeah,
Right, with Joe Satriani on guitar.
uh-huh.
That ain't bad.
Not bad.
Anyway, so the CAO Bones series is all related to dominoes and dice, which were traditionally made out of bones,
Right.
like way back when. So when you buy a box of these, you actually get a nice set of dice, and the top of the box is lined with felt, so you can use it to roll
So you can
dice.
use it as a okay, nice.
So, but the label has CAO Bones on it, and then the backdrop is dominoes.
And this is a newer series from CAO.
Yeah, this came out mid last year, I think, something like that. This is a Connecticut broadleaf wrapper, Connecticut binder, Nicaraguan and Honduran fillers, I believe. Overall, the appearance: light milk chocolate, kind of firm feel overall. Very veiny, slightly oily. Single band depicts dominoes. The pre-light sniff: woody and sweet, little tea leaf and earth on that. Not a whole lot else going on, but very, very pleasant on the nose. Pre-light draw: traditional tobacco, slight sweetness, and some sawdust going on there, like fresh cut sawdust. It's kind of a good smell to me, if that makes any sense. The first third of this: solidly mild. Basic tobacco, wood, tangy sweetness, toast, and a touch of bitter stone fruit skin. Stone fruit. It's not confusing. It's any fruit that makes a stone, like apricot or cherry or anything that has a stone in the middle of it as a pit or something.
I'm so glad I didn't just embarrass myself by going, I love the flavor of stone fruit.
Well, a lot of people get confused by the term stone fruit, but
Yeah.
that's just basically,
If it makes that seed in the middle.
if it makes that big stone-like seed in the middle, that's what we're talking about. So, let's see, black pepper and a hint of coffee on the retrohale, solid ash, mostly even burn. The second third of this, the strength ramps up to a medium, and pepper notes picked up just a little bit. Never enough to intimidate the rest of the flavors. The sweetness resembles powdered sugar and toast a little bit on there. Wood and sawdust kind of remain. I like that flavor overall, very kind of earthy in its way. The retrohale a little spicier, solid ash, mostly even burn. The last third of this, flavors coalesce on a sweet, peppery toast. It pretty much finishes the whole way that way. Pairs great with coffee. I had a coffee with it earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Fantastic with coffee. This was a $7.50 cigar, not a lawnmower.
Yeah.
But that's definitely in the premium range. I give it a 6.5. It was
Nice.
delicious.
Oh.
Absolutely delicious. As a matter of fact, I'll probably buy a box of these.
You know, it's interesting because CAO is one of those brands that they were really good. They were cutting edge. They got bought by, one of the large cigar, by General Cigar. And like so often happens, they spent the next several years not quite living up to being as good as they had been.
Yeah, I think they ramped up production, and then their quality of construction went down.
Yep.
Their quality overall kind of went
But
down.
like so many brands that happens to, they have slowly been kind of coming back. And when they released that whole series that was named after parts of motorcycles, like camshaft and all that,
The flathead
those were
and
really
all that.
good. And then this new series is getting a lot of accolades too. So, but a 6.5, that's a good rating.
Yeah, 6.5.
Nice.
It was great. It was at $7.50. It was a long enough smoke to justify the price. It was a good enough smoke. Also, if you are someone who's in the mild range of cigars and wants to dabble with something a little bit stronger, this is a great one to go because it's very smooth overall. It never gets harsh. It never gets biting. There's enough pepper in there to make it interesting, but not enough to bite you, so to speak.
Nice. Well, with 5 on the price to quality scale being you got what you paid for, anything over a 5 at 6.5, that's a really sharp rating. Comments coming in on your tastings?
Oh yeah, I have a couple. Everyone's still going on the foreigner thing. I got it. It's
okay.
cold as ice and gives you double vision.
Well, good. Well, who knew that would be what sparked discussion on today's show? People enjoy talking about the cigars now, but they love the foreigner commentary.
I mean, we had world news, we had everything else. Foreigner.
Foreigner, yeah, exactly. Well, I smoked something really interesting this week. It was a Trinidad Espiritu series number 2, which is the new series. And I'm actually going to use a new word in today's tasting notes. Actually, it might not actually be new. And to be honest, I'm not even 100% sure that it's really a word. So maybe I'm making up a new word, but you'll probably know what one it is when you hear me later in these comments describe mulchiness. Mulchiness. Is that a word?
No, but I get it.
Okay.
Like,
good.
I immediately know what you're talking about.
You at least know where I'm headed. So, the Trinidad Espiritu series was first released in 2019, featuring all Nicaraguan tobacco and blended by my personal cigar hero, AJ Fernandez. The number 2, which is just released this year, leans more Brazilian. It has a Brazilian Arapicara wrapper. I think I'm pronouncing that right. Nicaraguan binder and filler tobacco from Nicaragua and Brazil. So it's like blending Brazil into this, and it even has it's a really attractive cigar, by the way, and it
has the multicolored
multicolored
thing, yeah.
Brazil flag color double band, very nice. It was blended in collaboration between AJ and Rafael Nodal, who's now the head of product capability for Tabacalera USA. So I think that Rafael is kind of the guy that's been responsible for getting AJ to do blends for Monte Cristo and H. Upmann and these other Tabacalera brands. So the Espiritu number 2, like I said, really beautiful cigar, a deep brownish black wrapper, looks almost oscuro, it's so dark. And the double band that I mentioned felt great, very solid to the touch, and the pre-light sniff and draw were really, really rich and earthy. It was so earthy that I think I would take this moment to describe it as, and maybe you can give me a drum roll. Describe this aroma as mulchiness.
That's like one step past barnyard, right?
Well, it is. It's like so. If you ever think about like the beginning of spring, right? You're going to plant your begonias, and you open up that bag of potting soil, and it's got that super deep, rich, earthy mulchiness to it. It's not actual mulch, but it has that mulchiness, and Do you guys not plant begonias? I mean, I don't.
I've tried it one
Yeah.
or two times. I mean, it's kind of overrated, but
Yeah, I don't. I just like saying the word begonias. So
Not a botanist.
I have
anyway,
a cactus.
So
It's hard to kill.
Yeah, but it can be done. Let me tell you, it can be done. In the first part of this, I used a punch. I lit the cigar. Could tell from the first puff it wasn't going to mess around. Big, full pepper notes, kind of settled into a rich mix of leather and earth. There wasn't as much mulchiness as there had been on the pre-light, but just kind of a rich undertone that made it feel like I was smoking something really expensive. Do you know what I'm talking about when you do that? You go, oh, yeah, this is an expensive cigar. It kind of gave me that
I'm
sort of
thinking about other
sort of
words for
vibe.
mulchiness, like dank.
Yeah, a little bit, but
Like
it's very
overripe.
pleasant. It's very pleasant, though. It's
Earthy.
not, yeah, earthy,
Yeah,
super
earthy.
earthy. First
Those are all
third,
good things.
First third, I got notes of roasted coffee beans along with the leather and the earth. It burned perfectly. Second third, some spice that was more than just the pepper. I detected a little bit of cinnamon vibe and a kind of a toasted bread on the retrohale, which was really, really nice. Final third, the strength ramped up on it a little bit, gave me tons of complexity with a few notes of dried fruit and a little bit of a salty tang on the tongue. Really an enjoyable cigar. And I can't say enough about the burn and construction. It straight and beautiful. If it got crooked for just a moment, it corrected itself. It was wonderful. The Espiritu number 2, definitely medium to full bodied, inching a little bit closer to full than to medium. It produced these great wisps of kind of bluish gray smoke, and I smoked it outdoors, but I couldn't help but think that the room note on this would have been amazing
great,
if you were
yeah.
inside a cigar lounge smoking it. I'm such a fan of AJ Fernandez that I do have to kind of force myself to try to be objective when it comes to doing tasting notes, because I just really like what he does. It really suits my palate. That said, this, I think, is a fantastic addition to his lineup of creations, and I'm convinced AJ must have stumbled onto this motherlode of amazing tobacco somewhere in Nicaragua, and he's just like hoarding it all and not letting other cigar companies have it unless he's doing the blending. In any case, his cigars rock, and the Espiritu number 2 is a winner. It's about a $10 cigar. I recommend it highly. Big thumbs up. Price to quality, 6.5, just like you did.
Oh, really?
Yeah, 6.5.
funny.
I mean, I loved it. I will be looking for a box of these. This was very, very, very good. So we both had good ones. See, I've had some slight disappointments over the past couple of weeks. So I was thrilled to be able to wave the flag on one this week. It was really quite good. Can't wait to smoke another one. Okay, tell you what I can't wait to do is to start trying some cocktails and some.
I'm for it.
And some hop brewed tea. I'm probably not saying that correctly.
I like the mulchiness. I'm still on that.
Well,
part.
okay.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see if we can work mulchiness
If
into.
we describe your hot brewed tea that way,
Yeah, that's probably not a good sign.
the look he gave you was beautiful.
It's a crispy mulchiness.
There we go. All right, good. So mulchiness, that's our word. Maybe somebody, one of our show commentators on the feed, can let us know if it is a word. I don't think it actually is, but it might be interesting to look up. All right, so let's take a break. We'll be back. We'll do some tasting. Peter and Cody from the Ready Room and Ritual and all sorts of other wonderful endeavors are here with us today, and it's time to start tasting some cocktails.
Yeah, I just haven't wear out the party.
Welcome back. It is Smoking and Toasting. It is show number 226. We'll talk beer goggles today. We'll talk cocktails. We'll talk a little hop brewed tea. Am I saying it right?
You're saying it right.
Is that the right way to describe it?
I did sparkling hop tea.
Sparkling hop tea. All right. We'll be trying some sparkling hop tea and some interesting beers as well. I kind of stumbled across this story this week, and I thought it might be an interesting one to share with you guys, because anyone who's ever managed a bar or restaurant knows that you can be the best in the world and you just can't please everybody.
Oh, absolutely.
Some customers are going to have an issue, and some of them are going to write you little notes on their receipts and what have you. And there's a craft brewery called Beal's Brewery that is kind of taking all of that to their next level, and it just goes to show you that creatively messaging and naming your product can really work well, because their latest beer release has gone totally viral. It's all over the internet. They decided to do a series of beers that the name of the beer would be verbatim the comments that were left on some of the negative
That's awesome.
some of the negative things by people that came there.
The one star.
So the so they've done a whole bunch of these. The third one, the first limited release was called Troll the Trolls. Okay. The second one was Closed by Christmas. I love that. That's great. But the third one, and Adam, you can put this up, and you guys may be able to see it on your phones here. The third one is the one that has gone viral, and it's a beer that's named Your Manager is Bitch. So they took. I'll show you guys the photo there, but Adam's putting it up on the feed. Your manager is bitch. That's the manager in question. They put her on the beer can, and this has now gone viral. And I am looking for this. I have to try this, and I have to try this and bring it on the show. But just in case I can't find it, I thought we'll at least share that, because that's just too good. Your manager is bitch. Perfect. It's an American.
It's perfect. Troll the Trolls too.
It's an American porter, by the way. So it sounds like it's probably delicious. But I'm sure you guys have read some things that cracked you up on the comments from people. It's always, look. Sometimes you go in, you enjoy what you have. Sometimes you get a server that doesn't, really meet your expectations. I don't mind. I don't mind saying something like, hey, I would have tipped more if, but I would never write your manager's bitch. That just seems, but I bet it gets a lot worse than that, doesn't it?
Depends on what platform you're on. But yeah,
Really?
whether it's a piece of paper or what have you.
Yeah.
Oh, I have a whole Yelp name.
Yeah?
I have an alias. What's your name? Steve, man. Just put Steve on there. And then whenever my manager back at other places would see them, like, we don't even have a Steve.
So our bartender, Steve, was a total jerk. What is Steve there?
Well, but it helps out both parties, because it allows the establishment to get it taken off. Because it's a bogus review, right? There's nobody there named Steve.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense. How much do you actually have to spend a lot of time dealing with stuff like that? I guess you do, because if
depends on how bad you hear it. I mean,
Yeah.
It's all. I've always thought it was interesting though that people can, if I'm looking at, let's say, a restaurant I'm going to go to, or a book on Amazon, I generally will discount the most positive and the most negative of the reviews and try to look at what's in the middle. What did people say that seem more measured? That'll probably tell you more, because you can go anywhere and have a bad experience, but that doesn't mean the restaurant sucks.
Right.
Well, every experience that you read is an emotional experience.
Right. And I would think that people would be much more prone to want to write a review if something negative happened than they would if they just went and had a great dinner and go, oh, you know what, I'm going to go and tell everybody how great that was.
I have a metric that I put mine up against, because I've had pretty bad service before, and it's got to be pretty bad. I went, remember there used to be a Black Eyed Pea on West Gray?
Yes, been to it many times.
I went there one time, and I was sitting there, and the server came up, and she had a bit of a, hip out attitude.
Sassy.
You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yep.
like you can see that immediately.
She missed family meal.
And and she's like, "What do you want?" And I was like, "Okay, well, I'll take a glass of iced tea." And then before I can even say, "And I'm ready to order," she's like walking away. I'm like, "Ma'am," she's like, "I'll be back."
I hope so.
I said, "Okay." So, no lie, 15 minutes later, she comes back.
Wow.
With sweet iced tea instead of unsweet.
Yeah.
Which is terrible to me. And then she goes to take our order. 15 minutes after that, the manager comes by and says, have you guys been taken care of? I was like, well, no.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No, not at all. As a matter of fact, I still have my sweet iced tea when I asked for unsweet. We've been here about a half an hour now. And he walks off. And then I see, because where I was sitting, you could kind of see where the restroom entrances were. I could see the manager walk up and talk to one of the other servers. Is she in the bathroom again?
Oh,
and
yeah.
he kind of opens the hallway to where the bathrooms are and says her name. She comes out a minute later. I'm on my time of the month, damn it. And then just walks back in, and I'm just sitting there.
Wow. Wow.
Well, there you have it. You couldn't get mad at her. She's on the time.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it's
like, this is
it's
not good
tough, you know.
service today.
But I sometimes wonder if places and products should maybe spend a little less time trying to check on you to see if you had a good experience, and maybe a little more time trying to improve
So,
the experience.
Before
You
I
know what I mean?
left,
Well,
I told the manager when he finally came back by, I said, I think I'm just going to leave.
Yeah,
And he wanted me to pay for the iced tea.
you got to be
The
kidding
iced tea
me.
that was the wrong iced tea.
That was the
I
wrong
didn't
one
even
that you
tell- I was
didn't
like,
order.
are you kidding me? And I
Yeah.
walked out.
the manager a bitch.
Yeah.
So-
Your manager is bitch.
If my service is that bad, then I'm upset. If it's not that bad,
Yeah.
I set the bar low, I guess.
The things that infuriate me the most on these Yelp and Google reviews is when they say everything was fantastic, it's great, I'm going to recommend it to all my friends, but
give
they
you
leave you like 3 stars. And
yeah.
you're like, what?
It's like,
Where's
what
the
did
par?
I have to do to get that 4th or 5th star? No, I totally understand that. Totally understand it. Well, let's see some cocktail action here.
All
I
right.
see you have prepared yourself with a torch.
I have.
And you are now. Why don't you put that up here if you can, so that we can get it on camera and see what's happening.
Yeah, sure.
And describe what you're making here and why it involves smoke.
So this, you might actually love this one, guys. So this one is on our new menu for the week.
That's so cool.
We do weekly menus now since COVID.
That's
Yeah.
really awesome. Yeah.
So we had to keep it fresh. We had to keep it exciting, but at the same time keep the cost and waste low.
So this is pipe tobacco.
Yes, this is
It smells
buttered,
so
Smell it.
good.
It smells great.
buttered rum pipe tobacco.
So then you're taking the glass and allowing the smoke to totally coat and kind of
Coat
infuse
the glass.
interior of the glass. Okay.
A better way to do it is to actually chill the glass beforehand. So that way when you do light it, the smoke sticks to that water
Oh, so you get
surface
a little
better.
condensation action
yeah,
going.
yeah. I
So,
like it. Well, this is definitely a different take on the smoky cocktail, because usually you're either using some kind of a smoky spirit. Or you're maybe smoking something once it's
You're
all put
infusing the
together.
liquid, yeah.
Exactly. So this is a totally different take. So what is the primary spirit in this one?
So this is rum. Rum. I've always been a big rum guy. I get dumb on some rum.
and toastedness is a wonderful combination. Yeah.
This is Santa Teresa, 1796 Solera.
Okay.
So this one actually, I was doing a lot of research before I was making this, and apparently in Willis, Texas, back in the early 1800s, or late 1800s, sorry, there was a big tobacco plantation there that served some of the best cigars around that time. So I was like, okay, cool. I figured it'd be a good one to show you. You know what I mean?
Awesome. Love it.
So a lot of your drink themes are local and
Local or
yeah.
regional
Texas,
type ideas, yeah.
Texas based. I remember that talking about that from last time. That looks so amazing. Look how smoky it is still.
Still smoking at the top.
I'm
I
going to
love
hold
that.
that up to this
Oh,
camera.
yeah.
Look,
Yeah.
my drink is smoking.
Love it. And this obviously. So there's rum in here. What else is in the?
There is rum. There is a cacao-infused Benedictine
Oh, nice.
that I made. You've also got a little bit of tawny port. You've got
Look, I'm just saying, you're probably not going to want that. Hand that over here. I'll
this one. Yeah, okay, you'll take care of this for me. Well, so all of the things you're describing strike me as things that go with smokiness really well. Port and even I would suppose Benedictine. I've never thought of it that way, but certainly rum and port and
That-
and,
it's even got a little banana too.
nice.
This is
that
for Senior
tobacco
Adam.
in there is such a beautiful and wonderful thing.
We pass that one over. Thank you. I'm
will.
going to hand that to Adam while it's still smoking.
And goes really, really well.
Great after
I
dinner.
love it on the nose.
You try yours yet?
Not yet, but on the
I've been
nose, I'm
doing
getting
research.
smoky banana is what I'm getting on the
Like a
nose.
bananas Foster type
Yeah,
deal.
yeah, absolutely.
Now, don't forget, you still have one more component that's not on the glass that makes that whole experience.
Oh, yeah. At the shop, I usually coat the outside of the glass with cacao powder.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, just so
but
if you want
that's
that little
good.
extra chocolate kick, it's
yeah,
there.
yeah. So what is this called?
This is called, whoever's going to kill me on pronunciation, but I called it Lilia's Box. So Lilia was the daughter of the Corporal Smith who opened the plantation in Willis
Yeah.
for tobacco. And what he would do is he would sell his boxes with his daughter's picture on it. And they kind of got shamed for it because most of these boxes were found in saloons and places of ill repute. So I figured Why not just honor her for it? Because she looked like she had a choice.
By the way, ill repute. Wouldn't that be a great bar name?
Places of ill
That'd be a
repute.
great bar name.
That
Ill
would be.
repute. I like that.
I passed
yeah,
by a bar in Lubbock one time called He's Not Here.
That's good. That works for me. Well, I love this. It is really like a smoky banana, and it's got. You can
This
tell there's more to it than that, but
Makes
it
me
is
feel
really
so much like home, and the reason for that is because my comfy leather chair sits next to all my tobacco, my pipe tobaccos, and it really just makes me feel like I'm sitting right there because it smells so good.
It's
right
such a
there.
good.
So
yeah.
what would you pair up with y'all are
Cigar wise,
Yeah.
almost anything.
Yeah.
You could. This would go with anything from mild all the way up to reasonably full. But my first go-to with this would be like a like the Aladino, Connecticut, or
I'm thinking the Rocky Patel Edge
Rocky
would
Patel
work,
Edge would go
work
nice.
well with this. Yeah.
There's a lot of things. The other like a nice Maduro, like a Oscar Valdez or Leaf by Oscar Maduro, or even a regular line.
Right, the sort of deep, earthy, but slightly sweet
Any
Maduro
of
vibe
these
would work
be great
really well.
choices, I think, with this.
Yeah, yeah. Honestly, it might be hard to find something that didn't pair well with
Yeah,
this.
well, the flavor profile of this works so well with most cigars, I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, even a fun like the La Galera,
I can see it in
the
my
green one.
I can see the I can
green
see
one.
Candela.
The Candela. Okay,
Sorry,
there you go. Yeah.
the green one.
I was seeing the La
Candela.
Galera band in my
Which
my
would
brain.
tie in because at the time you were talking about the most popular cigars were actually Candela wrappers. They were green.
Okay.
A lot of times that didn't change until I think early 20th century.
I think that's right. Yeah, but this is really like an easy to drink cocktail. You know, some cocktails you sip them because you can't really drink them fast
Right.
without
Too
feeling
intense,
it.
yeah.
Yeah, but this one is very, very easy to drink. We've been told that the word smooth, when it comes to spirits, is not a great word. That it implies maybe that it's not full enough or too watered down. But smooth does come to mind just
How
in
about
terms of the
this?
fact
This
it's
has a
easy to
Silky
drink.
smooth.
This
Yeah.
has a
Also.
very silky finish to it, and a very little heat whatsoever, which is really, really nice. There's a little bit there. It lets you know that there's something there, which I also appreciate because I like a little bit. But there's none in the initial flavor. It happens after the finish, and you sit there for a minute, and then it comes back and goes, "Hey, you just had a little something."
It makes me think of something historic, like something you might have been able to get at a speakeasy during Prohibition times. It's got that.
Like-
I think it's more distinguished.
Yeah?
It makes you feel like, you've earned it.
Yes.
Yeah, I like that.
Like
I like that.
the only thing, like now, I just need the smell of like leather-bound books. Like that's the one thing I'm missing right now.
Which we have books at the ready room. So
Yeah, and rich mahogany. So, well, this is absolutely wonderful. Now, did you start out with a particular idea? Did you say, I want to make a new rum drink, I want to do something smoky? What started? How did you get
Not-
from point A to here?
in one day, man. So, like I said, we've been doing these weekly menus, right?
Right,
so
right.
I think now we're up to cocktails like 126 to 131 or something.
We're 120 to 126.
That's
so.
it, yeah.
So, will all of those be in the book? I know you're collecting a lot of cocktails for the book.
For the most part.
What would you pair food-wise with this?
No, that's your department.
Oh man.
I'm
I
a
don't
scavenger.
I don't even have anything in front of me, but I mean, I would. This is more of like an after dinner, man. Treat yourself. Chocolate or
Yeah.
banana Fosters or anything ice cream,
Yeah.
cream
See
base
that.
to it, or even just some plain cigar or pipe tobacco. That's
This
it.
does strike me as I'll be drinking my dessert sort of a
Right.
cocktail. You know, it really does come across that way.
Have you actually smoked a pipe with this tobacco while drinking this?
Yeah, I'm an avid pipe smoker. Yeah, I haven't smoked it while drinking it yet. I'm going on a non-drinking hiatus at the moment.
Oh,
Yeah.
That's good.
Which-
I've done that before, and it's always a very refreshing time.
It
You know,
is.
when you go
Oh,
on
it
a
is, you know.
non-drinking hiatus.
Do some push-ups, pay some bills, and then you get right back to it. But
I'm sorry. I thought a non-drinking hiatus meant that you were taking a hiatus from not drinking.
oh no.
So that's why I was volunteering to participate. I'm not going to not drink this week for sure. Yeah, my wife and I coined a new phrase last night: Martini Wednesday.
Oh yeah, bring it back to 50s.
Yeah. Martini Monday, of course, already exists, but Martini Wednesday. I'm like, why not?
And Tuesday is definitely tacos.
Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely.
Need to bring back the 3 martini lunch.
Yeah, well, this though is just it's really delightful, and it's one of those things that I absolutely would order this as dessert after I'd had a nice dinner. And boy, yeah, if you could light up a pipe,
This is outstanding. Yeah, I
with the
want to go
same
out onto
tobacco?
your patio and have a cigar with this.
You said this was buttered
Or
rum. Was
Buttered
the-
rum
was
tobacco,
the
yeah.
tobacco. Very nice. I like it. Yeah. Then this actually makes me think I need to get the pipe out again. Like I haven't done that in a month or so.
Could you
It's
imagine
time.
that smelling that next to a spot that's mulchiness? Like it would just.
Oh,
well
there you go.
This would, yeah, you're right.
work great.
This
I'm
would work.
learning.
This would work great with the cigar that I had that had the mulchiness as a part of its appeal.
I just
And it's
got
a South
new
American rum.
Stanwell and a thing of Esoterica Pembroke that I think would probably go with it really nice.
I like
There
it.
you go.
Ian, why don't we try a little of this lager-ish?
You're so bossy.
Well, I just thought that we can do that, or we can go to break. Why not have some beer? Why
Are you
not
in or
have
out?
some beer?
I'm out.
You're out. Okay.
Thank you.
All right. So this is from Great Heights Brewing. It is a
mind passing
Kolsch.
these on.
A Kolsch is a lighter, crisp ale, and they are describing this Kolsch as being lager-ish. So I think some of that will be explained on the can. Ian, maybe you can share that with us after you do the pours. But I will tell you that on the nose, it does kind of remind me of a lager, for
This
sure.
one distinctly says, according to the Surgeon General, women should not drink alcoholic beverages during.
It just
Who's the sur-
I'm
who's the
so-
surgeon?
It's like on every beer.
it gets funnier every time you do it. I know.
Brewed at 938 Wakefield Drive, Houston, Texas. Keep cold, drink fresh, Kolsch. This is where did I see the?
I think it's on the other side.
There it
over
goes.
Mhm.
5.5% by volume, brewed with ale yeast, but cold conditioned like a lager. This beer is light, smooth, and crisp. Perfect for a hot Texas day. Drink up, then recycle.
It really does taste like a lager.
I haven't tried it.
It's very.
Oh, it smells good.
You expect Kolsch to be a little more like that crisp, fruity, not have the maltiness in the center the same way this one does.
Oh,
But this tastes like somebody took Miller
I will
Lite.
be buying this.
This tastes like somebody took Miller Lite and made it good.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Miller Lite's still good.
Yeah. Well, it honestly, if I'm going to drink a mainstream beer, that's probably the one I choose is Miller Lite.
We're going to put this to the test. We're going to try this a little warm later.
Oh, okay.
Oh, there you go.
See how it
You love to
stands
do
up.
that. Yeah.
European style. I dig it.
Well,
It's
I'm loving
great
it.
like
I'm
this. I
loving
can't
it
stop
cold,
drinking. I'll
though.
pour a little more and set it aside.
So we have really had some good, even though this one's not actually a lager, we've really had some good
It's
lagers.
got this great little bitter snap to the very end of it
Mm-hmm.
that really just like it takes that malty bready pretzeliness thing it's got going on and just snaps it off and leaves you with this little bit of tanginess.
Mm-hmm.
It's really interesting.
I mean, I would describe it as crispy.
Yeah.
It's very
It
crispy.
does have that. Yeah, absolutely. It does have that.
It's not mulchy at all.
I was going to say not a lot of mulchiness, but crisp, yes, absolutely. Yeah, mulchiness and crisp are at opposite
They're an
ends
opposite
of the spectrum. So
like mulchiness gets up under your fingernails, right? Like crispiness doesn't do that.
Yeah, no,
You
it
got to
doesn't.
shower after mulchiness.
Absolutely. All right. Well, we'll enjoy more of this and more of this cocktail as we take a little break. When we return, can we talk? Can we talk this sparkling hop tea?
At your house. Sure.
Okay. I'd love to find out more about this because I find all of this so incredibly interesting. So we'll talk sparkling hop tea, and we'll talk a little bit about new cigars that you might want to watch for at your favorite cigar store. We'll be right back. It's Smoking and Toasting. Welcome back. It is Smoking and Toasting. It's show number 226. Still to come, the science of beer goggles, a little drinking news, and more. Listen, I screwed up here. I totally forgot to mention that we're brought to you by MyCigarShirts.com. It's a great site on the web for cigar lovers. Great cigar. Yeah, Ian's wearing a MyCigarShirts.com shirt right now. It says, you can't hurry up and smoke a cigar.
Wise men say that.
No idea where they heard that. So since I forgot to mention it earlier, please bail me out here by going to mycigarshirts.com and buying a shirt, then they'll go, oh, wow, we got great response after last week's show. Thank you. And, you'll keep us in good graces.
Especially since you didn't
Yeah.
mention us. I hope they don't come down on
Yeah.
us.
mycigarshirts.com because...
Cigars.
Cigars, yes. So Peter and Cody from the Ready Room, from Ritual, are here, and now you've started this whole other venture that has to do with making... is hard teas? Does it qualify as a hard tea? Is that
No. There's zero alcohol.
So
in
there's
it.
zero alcohol in this. So tell me what got you started down this path.
Oh man, I really started seeing a lot on Amazon throughout COVID. We get stuck behind a computer because we can't go out, can't do anything. So I went in this little rabbit hole and saw a lot of hop water out there. So I was like, oh, okay, that's kind of cool. You got to be a beer drinker to like hop water, right? And then tea, a lot of people see tea as fun, but effeminate. I don't know, but you see a lot of guys drinking tea. Or
I don't know.
just say it.
Adam's a huge fan of tea. He likes these. We get them for him like for Christmas presents sometimes. These real like exotic teas that you can find on the internet that are that are just really really crazy and
I'm a
exotic.
fan of unsweetened
Iced tea.
Yeah.
And I found this one made by, is it Tazo? It's like
Tazo,
iced
yep.
blushberry black.
Oh, that's quite good.
It's so good.
Yeah, I make that in my iced tea maker. But hot teas though are becoming really more and more of a thing, as are iced teas as well. As people, I think some people are trying to move away from coffee, move into tea. But I think you're right. With COVID, people were at home and just trying new things.
Absolutely.
And I think that may have been responsible for some of this surge. So that was what gave you the idea to do hop tea.
I could even talk because of how COVID makes me feel. Going through all that, you really challenge yourself. You step into the unknown because, like, what do I do? No one knew their business was going to survive. No one knew what was going to happen.
Yeah.
So this was one of the rabbit holes I went down on and started tinkering with it and love it, and so decided to give a go at it.
Awesome. So is this something that will be available at the Ready Room? Will it be available other places?
Well, right now
what's your
it's
plan?
available at Ready Room. So I have two other business partners. Jason, he's more of a brewery guy, so he's got the component, the technology, how to make all that happen.
How to scale it up to be able to
Absolutely.
release it. Yeah.
And then Emil, he's one of my good friends from Africa. Got a great palate, so he's kind of like the taste tester to really see what would work within the markets. Because this is non-alcoholic, and it makes you feel like you've been drinking, but you haven't been drinking. I've got great response with this thing, and you'll see when you taste it.
When you say it feels almost like a cocktail, is that what you're getting?
No,
at,
not
or-
at all. It's non-alcoholic. So it's basically you get the hops, you get the teas, you get that beer
So it
feel.
fills that niche, so to speak.
Right.
Gotcha. Okay.
So you get that beer feel, but it doesn't remind you of beer, even though it's weird. It's on that little teeter-totter line. I can't
So
really
it's
explain
interesting because one of the things that I have always felt about the non-alcoholic beers is that they don't quite satisfy that feeling that you've had a beer. It's not just about the fact that you're not getting a buzz.
Right.
It just does, there's something about it. Most of them, even the ones that have good flavor to them, it just doesn't quite satisfy that
Well, there's two
thing
people.
that you wanted when you wanted a beer.
I think there's two groups in the category you're talking about. There's people who can't drink, but they like the flavor of beer, so they'll drink that, right? So it satisfies that craving. And then you have people who want that alcohol feel, but they can't drink.
Right, or
You
they're
know?
the designated driver that
Right.
night or whatever.
So
Yeah,
it's all psychosomatic. Like, it's mentally driven when you go to something like this because it makes you feel that way, but you're not. Like, it's strange.
Well, I'm excited to try this.
That's awesome. I was just about to add in. There's a social thing, like when you're hanging out and you're the designated driver. If you have a drink in your hand that you're sipping on, it makes you feel a little more part of the crowd.
Like you're part of the
without everybody
yeah,
looking at you
yeah.
going.
Is that lime juice with sugar?
You're not sitting there. You're not sitting there with a bottle of water. You know.
You put a Coke in a rocks glass with a lime, please.
By the way, Norm Macdonald does the most hilarious comedy bit about being the designated driver. It's just look it up on the internet. Just Google or go to YouTube and look up Norm Macdonald designated driver. Hilarious. Nobody has ever nailed it quite. I won't even try to repeat it. Just go look it up. Nobody's ever quite nailed that feeling that being the designated driver for the evening evokes as well as him. But okay, so if I'm the designated driver, I can try some of this sparkling hop tea.
Absolutely.
Okay, so
I'm gonna go ahead
let's
and pour you guys a
yeah,
taste. So,
I'm really excited to try this because I don't know that I've ever had anything quite like how you're describing.
Does that
this.
lid allow you to carbonate that?
Yeah, it's a
Nice.
carb cap.
Yeah, I
so
see
it's
that.
basically good for 1 gallon batches.
Oh, that's cool though.
To kind of really see what recipe works. And so I successfully brewed to 12 gallons on a bigger scale. The recipe works, so that was my biggest concern.
So you take it and you put it in a vessel and then force carb it and.
Absolutely. So this has been force carb for 3 days. So the
So
flavor
it's
that
good and saturated. I see that.
grab that towel over there.
Yeah, I got you, bud.
Yeah,
It's a bubbling.
It
like it,
is.
though.
It's a bubbling brew.
Premature carbonation.
But no, so we do 4 different flavors.
This is
and,
happy tea.
It is brewed with all different types of hops, all different types of teas.
I already love the color.
Look at that.
The color is just
That's outrageous.
my favorite iced teas that I've ever had have been this color. You know, that sort of almost purplish color. Love it. Absolutely love it.
So you can already smell the tea and the hops in it already. I don't know
Yeah,
if y'all
yeah.
can pick that up.
This smells awesome.
Yeah, it really does. It's got that sort of rich. Okay, so
There's
tea,
an earthiness to the
I was
smell
going to
too.
say
that
tea
are like-
can be dank, right?
Yeah.
It can.
It's not a mulchiness, I will say that, but it's got a little bit of that earthy
This
sort of
is-
rhubarb kind of. I don't know if
Absolutely.
I'm pronouncing that right or not. But
It's fragrant, but not in a flowery necessarily
Right.
kind
No,
of
it's
way.
more like
It's-
raspberry.
It's
kind
more
of-
like walking into a nursery rather than into a flower garden.
Absolutely.
ooh, wow.
It smells so good. I'm just enjoying the nose on it.
So
So
it's not.
I'm
It's
really
not
excited for you to taste it.
It's not sweet.
No, although it's got a little bit of sweetness on the aftertaste, you know, on the finish. But you're right; it's not sweet in the way a sweetened iced tea would be.
Right.
But
Oh.
it's got a little carbonation. It's got the sort of dark tea flavor, and then you pick up the hops in there as well, which gives it a whole other kick.
It's really interesting. The hops happens on the end of the palate just like it does on a beer, and I think that's
Right.
lending to
Which
what
is
you're
what
saying.
gives you that sort of
that kind of
beer experience, maybe.
Correct.
Yeah.
You drink an 8 ounce of this, you definitely felt like you've drinking, an IPA. So different flavors have different types of hops. I've homebrewed for a long time with my good friend Jason, so I understand what each hop can do with their flavor components. But the trick on that is to really balance it out, because I really don't want people to feel like they've got a beer buzz. I mean, you want to be able to drink this and work.
Right.
So I had to find the ratio of tea and hops to really make sure that it dances well, like you're tasting
I
now.
want a candle that smells like this.
Yo.
This is amazing.
Speaking of candles, drinking news coming up. Enough said. We'll get there. You know what I like about this is it's got a complexity to it that you don't usually find in tea.
Correct.
Tea is usually more of like 1 or 2 notes.
Right.
In my experience, so some people might argue with that and say I'm not drinking the right teas, but usually tea is 1 or 2 notes. There's a lot going on here. How many different kinds of hops did you use for this?
On this one, I use one. So this one, I use Laura hops. So they're very similar to a lemon drop hops, which is very similar to Sriracha Ace. So
Okay.
you'll find them in Belgian wheat beers. So what's really in here is just blueberry, lemon, mint, and white pepper, and then you have a white peony tea, and then you have Laura hops.
What is the sweetness coming from? Because it's a subtle sweetness.
It is. So
What's really weird is I generally can't stand sweet tea. This is delicious.
So in the bartending community, which kind of relates to what we're doing here, there's something called verjus. So verjus is unripened grape juice from the cluster of grapes on the vine, where they just kind of trim it off, kind of like shake, basically, if we're talking in layman terms. So they sell that juice, so it's very acidic. So it's not acidic enough to where it's as acidic as vinegar, but just enough to where it doesn't have that punch. And so I use that in the combination of my different ingredients, and I sous vide them for a certain temperature for a certain time to extract the flavor, not necessarily to extract the juice. So I'm actually working on a keto version to where keto people can actually drink it without having to have sugar from the fruit, basically.
Wow, interesting.
So,
Yeah, that's very.
but this is all natural. There's nothing synthetic about it.
no
absolutely
added sweetening of any
delicious.
kind. Nothing like that.
We do add a little bit of white granulated sugar just to give it a balanced touch.
kind of
but-
smooth it out. Yeah.
Yeah, but if you do it on a 20-gallon system, I mean it's minuscule.
Adam, you're as big of an expert on tea as I know. What's your take on this?
Oh, it's delicious.
Delicious. All right, so this hits the sweet spot for you. No pun
I
intended.
love the carbonation in it too. The carbonation makes it so fun.
And it's so not over carbonated. Like it's the balance of carbonation is just perfect.
Absolutely.
Because if it was more than this, it would almost detract. Like sometimes I'll
Are too carbonated.
yeah I'll try like an IPA and it's too carbonated.
Or Zima.
Yeah, right. But
That
where it
stuff's
makes
really
you go, I would
carbonated.
enjoy this more if it wasn't
Tab.
so carbonated.
Well, the thing is that I got really tired of guys who bring their partners or wives or girlfriends or whatever, and they can't drink because they're pregnant or they have a religious limitation, and it breaks my heart to see they get fruit juice and sugar. Fruit juice,
Right.
people just don't go out anymore. And it's our fault because we didn't create something for them to drink when they don't want to drink. There's no options for them.
Let me go out and drink something that I can't just drink at home. That's
Right.
I mean, people
Right,
go out
right.
for cocktails specifically
Right.
for that.
Sure, yeah,
Absolutely.
sure.
So that's the thing that the younger generation are on. They're on this 0 ABV or low ABV. They want to drink more. They want to drink longer. They want to drink responsible. That's what really spurred all of this.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. What I like about it is that so often when you go with something that does not have alcohol, you go with something kind of like what you were saying that just isn't all that complex. It's not trying to do the things that maybe one of your awesome cocktails is trying to do, or that a beer that's been brewed for a particular flavor and style is trying to do, where you've got all these different things happening. This just has so much happening on the palate, and it's really much more interesting than most non-alcoholic things you
I
drink.
bet this is outstanding with like
Rum.
fish.
Oh, absolutely. Like shellfish, something
I'll go
like
with rum.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
sure.
shrimp, fish, those kind of things.
I think-
Anything blackened, I
I think you and I are on the same page about this.
amazing with.
Pretty much
Yeah.
everything goes
That's
great
another
with
flavor.
rum.
Oh,
Yeah,
absolutely.
it just doesn't it? I mean, rum just makes everything better. But okay, so this is great. We're going to take a break and we're going to come back. Another cocktail. We'll venture into this IPA from Mikerphone Brewing called That One Guitar, which should get the foreigner conversation going again. And we also are just a segment away now from Drinking News. Uh-huh. Remember, our Drinking News teaser headline, That Fragrance is Lovely. Boom. We'll be right back. So it's actually from Drinking News.
In the beginning.
Welcome back. It's Smoking and Toasting. We are here on show number 226, and we are thrilled to be coming to you at the sponsorship of MyCigarShirts.com. Find them online at that exact address, and there's all kinds of cool shirts, hoodies, sweatshirts, all kinds of cool stuff, and new designs coming for spring. MyCigarShirts.com, because
Cigars.
yeah, if you're a cigar lover, you will love checking out MyCigarShirts.com. So, Ian, let's say you have a mainstream beer.
Okay, I have a mainstream
and you
beer.
own it. You own the company, right? What can you do to try to sell more beer?
You can, let's see. What do larger companies do? They just
Yeah.
change the packaging
Change
and try
the
to tell you that
packaging,
it's better
right.
because the packaging is
Right,
cooler.
right. Hey, look, we're
A
just like our
Vortex
packaging
bottle
in the 70s.
could help.
Vortex bottle,
Um,
yeah. You come up with something, some
need a
kind
gimmick,
of a promotion.
right?
Yeah,
Right,
you
a
need a
gimmick.
gimmick, right? Some kind of a promotion or a gimmick to get people to check out your product. Well, Coors Light is doing it.
Wait, does it have anything to do with the actual beer?
No, not a thing.
Okay, I
Not
just
a
wanted to
thing.
make sure that they're
Yeah.
doing it the way they've been
The
doing
way
it.
that
Yeah.
it's supposed to be done. Yeah.
label.
Yeah. No, Coors Light understands that during COVID, during the pandemic, you've had to spend a lot more time at home, and you may have even started. You've probably done one of two things. I think everybody falls into one category or the other. Either you've made your home a complete and total mess because you're there all the time and stuff's just starting to stack up, right? Or you've gone the opposite direction and you've started like organizing, cleaning because you have more time being at home. You're trying to get rid of stuff. Well, Coors Light recognizes that both of those things are happening and they want to sell more beer. So they're offering to take those items that no longer spark joy in your life, that you're ready to get rid of from your house. They're offering to take them off your hands and trade you something else in return. Free beer. This is their big promotion.
Okay.
They
made a lot of
have
money on
offered
that.
up to 60 beers in exchange for unwanted, quote, quarantine clutter, end quote, that they're promising to donate to charity. So this is their promotion.
That's actually a pretty cool promotion.
Beer for your junk. You know? And they'll take it
I don't
to
know
one
if
of
I
those,
put it that way, but okay.
they'll take it to one of those stores that has the big sign out front that says we buy junk and sell antiques. And they'll donate it to them, and that's where.
Do they
that's where
judge
it'll go.
your junk so that you can
See, that would
get
be
the
thing,
appropriate
right?
amount of
Right.
their beer?
Yeah, it's like, sir, we've looked over what you have here.
112 ounce.
Yeah,
and your
yeah.
junk is only worth this much of our
Yeah,
junk.
yeah,
That's the new
yeah.
Antiques Roadshow.
They said it was motivated.
They have a
by-
chart.
They said that it was motivated by the stress and shopping habits of Americans over the past year during the coronavirus, and they found that 43% of Americans had done some quote comfort buying end quote while in social isolation. So they're thinking, maybe you don't need all that stuff, or maybe if you do need it, you need to get rid of some other stuff to make room for it. So here comes their promotion. People who bought a whole bunch of stuff to help them chill out through the pandemic. We've all bought more bread makers, they say, ring lights, and tie-dye kits than we know what to do with. So a year later, you don't need a bunch of stuff to chill. You just need some beer that you can tell whether or not it's cold by the color of the mountains on the can.
That's right.
Sounds better than my current plan.
Yeah,
Early
which
warnings.
is
I've got a magical curve, man. I just put any unwanted stuff out there, and the crackheads next door come take it. But I don't get beer in return.
My curb
I
works
was gonna
kind of the
say.
same way.
Yeah.
It's less crackheads, but man, I remember putting a broken washing machine out there one day, and it was like 6 minutes. Like, me and a
Gone.
friend of mine, he helped
See-
me move it out there. We had bets going on.
Yeah, see, but you had some real crap when you put it out and nobody takes it.
Oh yeah, yeah.
yeah.
I had a couch that
Yeah.
sat out there for almost a month. Still a heavy trash can.
You're like, oh man.
all the pillows that were on it disappeared that day.
Of course, yeah.
But
yeah.
everything else is.
Well, anyway, there's your new beer
So
promotion.
kudos for them. More promotions that don't have anything to do with the flavor of their.
of their actual beer.
Beer,
Yeah. It's better than a Vortex bottle.
Yeah, I mean that Vortex bottle sure makes it true.
All right. So speaking of promotions and packaging, I'm now ready to present to you, Ian, our next beer. This comes to us from Mikerphone Brewing, which they're very. You might even tell by their name that Mikerphone that they're kind of sound.
But it's not
and music
microphone, it's
oriented.
Mikerphone.
Mikerphone, Miker phone, Mikerphone. Anyway, here is their latest beer. I'll let you unveil it for the camera. It's an IPA called That One Guitar. Now, do you see what I'm saying?
That's
the Foreigner
awesome.
influenced.
Yes.
Was it Foreigner 4? Which Foreigner album had that? Had that
I don't
style
remember, but you
on
gotta
the
say
cover.
that one more time. What's the name of the beer?
That One Guitar.
Just blew him away.
Yeah.
Anyway.
All right. So there you go. So I don't know if the IPA is any good or not. Although Mikerphone's a very respected brewer out of Elk Grove Village, Illinois, which I believe is a suburb of Chicago. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong on that. But I'm anxious to try this IPA because I have to admit, if I saw this, knew nothing about it on the shelf, I probably would buy it just because of the creativity.
Because of that.
The creativity of that can,
awesome.
Yeah, I think it's interesting enough to warrant a purchase. So, and there's so many. I'll tell you, I was in Specs this last week, and I was just walking down the beer aisles and looking, and we regularly look for new beers that we haven't tried just to bring them on the show, not to mention just for my own consumption. So I'm looking around. I'm like, I just can't keep up. There's so many beers,
Absolutely.
and so many breweries are releasing stuff. Every week to 2 weeks, a new spin on something. So it's tough to keep up, but it's a challenge that I will admit I'm willing to step up to. Nice. Because that's what I do. I sacrifice for the people.
No, so that's a good thing.
That's how I look at it. Ian, you're making a face at your glass of That One Guitar.
You've managed to find an IPA that I really like.
Wow. See? It happens.
I don't hate all IPAs, but this is particularly good.
I have a tendency to love IPAs in general. Like most of the IPAs that we try, Ian is a bit harder to please when it comes to IPAs.
Double dry hop, double India Pale Ale with Mosaic hops. And that Mosaic
That's
hops
up
is
there. Like
very,
13.8%
very
alpha.
citrusy.
Yeah. So it's definitely a double.
What else does it say?
But I will
According to the Surgeon General, women should not drink alcoholic. It's like they get the same guy to write every one of these cans.
I know. They really should get more creative, shouldn't they?
The jingle guy.
You're right, though, Ian. This is a particularly outstanding juicy IPA. It is very citrusy, almost like an orange and grapefruit tangerine kind of vibe to the palate, and yet it doesn't have any of the resiny, sort of hop vibe.
There's a hint of dank that happens right there before you swallow, and then it's gone. It's just left with citrus.
And you got citrus on the finish, not
and it's not a
hop.
harsh citrus either. It's more of a more warm, welcoming citrus kind of finish to it.
I'll tell you what, for a double IPA, that's very drinkable.
It doesn't leave you with pine
s-
cone.
Yeah, I could see you putting that away quicker than most.
I do love
double
the art
IPAs.
on this. I'm gonna pull this back
It really
up to
is
my
quite well done, isn't it?
And usually
camera.
mosaics are around a 14% alpha, so that's a lot of hops in there.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No
Super
kidding.
cool.
No kidding. It's,
8% in this, by the way. Yeah.
So 8% alcohol? Is that what
Yeah.
you're saying? Okay.
I could
8%
totally
ABV.
crush this.
Yeah, that feels.
Store cold,
Usually
drink
single
fresh.
IPAs are in the 5 to 6 range, maybe 7.
I like
and
the.
then if you get to 8, it's usually definitely a double.
I like the. They've got the little logo here, Mikerphone Brewing. It says craft beer inspired by music. I'm gonna put that up close.
Oh, so that's very cool. So yeah, I love that they did this, and I love actually. The more I think about it, the more I love that it's Foreigner. Like, because if it was no, I'm serious. Like, if it was Led Zeppelin or AC/DC, you'd be like, yeah, everybody does that. Like, they went just slightly different, and I think that's pretty cool. Plus,
Next down the pipeline is Rush, probably.
yeah. Oh, yeah. So wouldn't that be great? Wouldn't that be great? You do
Have you guys watched that? Is it Beyond the Lighted Stage, the Rush documentary?
No.
No.
Oh, I have
So good.
seen it on
So
Amazon. I
good.
haven't watched it yet. That's definitely in my.
There's such
in my
interesting
upcoming
people
queue.
and so boring on tour.
Yeah.
Like they literally just go back to their hotel room, and every once in a while there's a scene where like, oh yeah, Kiss invited us to party, and they're just kind of standing around the party like,
Well, it reminds me. It reminds me of a story about another classic rock band. You remember the band Kansas, right?
Oh, yeah,
Left
yeah.
Overture, Dust in the Wind, Carry On Wayward Son. Kansas was scheduled back in the day when this is a thing. And by the way, I've heard it's coming back. But back in the day when the VH1 Behind the Music series was out, and they were telling all these, the Fleetwood Mac one was like great. You're like, this is the most like tortured, demented group of people you've ever seen. I can't believe they stayed together as a band and made this music. But they had one in the works on Kansas, and they wound up canceling it because the band was just too boring. Like they they didn't feel like it had enough drama to make a good episode of Behind the Music.
well,
So-
I remember watching. So you know how people try to do like the hyped up, like this is the story behind this song, and I remember watching one of them, and it was about. Was it?
he's going for the guitar.
Yeah,
Dust in the Wind, yeah.
right, and it's the guy, I can't remember the guitar player's name, and he's like,
It's Kerry Livgren.
yeah, so, Kerry Livgren. He's like, yeah. So I was sitting there, and I don't remember if his wife or his girlfriend. He goes, I was practicing my finger picking. I was playing this, and she goes, you should make that a song. And I said, okay.
That's what
Great story.
That's what's up.
That's why there is no Kansas Behind the Music.
I said, okay. That was pretty much it. Like, really?
Well, in any case, cheers to Mikerphone, and I'll take some more of that.
Was
sir.
Bruce Stark said, was looking for mulchiness in the Urban Dictionary. Got a new definition for mulching that I probably shouldn't post here.
Okay, that didn't occur to me, but it's good to know if we're just kind of throwing that around. You know what I'm saying? So, all right. So we've had.
There's plenty more.
You may have opened with the wrong cocktail because I don't know how you're going to top the smoky glass and the pipe smoke here. That's
Well,
this be a tough act to
I
follow.
believe
Well,
that's
I'm gonna
called
leave that to
throwing
this
down
guy.
the gauntlet.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah.
that's why you did it. All right.
I
So
I just said, hey, go ahead and do it. There's no like plant rhyme or reason, but it's good.
It was like
Okay.
Kansas. He just said, you should do that first. All right, man.
So
Okay.
where are we going with the next cocktail then?
So we're going a little bit on the crisp side. This
Okay.
one's called Weeby Crispy.
Weeby Crispy.
And the reason why it's got Weeby is it's got the Wee Beastie of Ardbeg 5 year.
Oh, okay.
Peter
nice.
Scotch.
Weeby.
And crispy is a word we're trying to bring back because it's a fun word.
Right.
So Weeby Crispy. So anyway, so this is kind of a play off of a horse's neck and a mule. So
Okay.
instead,
I'm intrigued.
What's a horse's neck?
Hey,
I mean,
Jim.
other than the thing that holds on a horse's head, I get that part of it. I was waiting for that like Leslie Nielsen drop.
A Godfather reference. Huh?
But it's Scotch and ginger ale for the horse's neck and some
Okay.
bitters.
Okay.
But this one here, really a gold rush kind of really brought me to this is when I was a kid, my grandparents were like health freaks. And they would drink every morning guava and orange juice. It was like an equal part mixture. I don't know why they did that. I'm still trying to figure that out. But I grew up with it, and it was delicious. So instead of using lemon juice for the citrus, I used guava and orange. Put a little bit of coriander in there and put a little bit of an acid blend to it to kind of brighten it up a bit. Then you had ginger beer, and it's very light, refreshing. You could actually smoke a cigar with it. So that's
Nice.
why we bought it here.
Nice.
Have you taste it?
Certainly, the first cocktail you made would pair wonderfully with cigars. So,
Wiki Brian comments: smoking and toasting and tea.
yeah, I know.
Yes.
It is a bit unusual, but it was a wonderful way to go. I like it. All right, so
Well, for this thing here, I mean, it's good for your lawnmower cigar.
okay.
Not your $10 $7.50s. And
Yeah.
So I can compete with that. With this.
Well, that's good because sometimes the combinations are so exquisite, you feel like you're almost like wasting it if you're combining them with a lawnmower cigar. So it's good to have one that's perfect for the lawnmower. Love it. Plus that indicates to me it would match up pretty easily with most things.
That Fever
Cigar-wise.
Tree ginger beer. Actually, that whole Fever Tree line. I use that bitter lemon a lot of times and stuff. That stuff is just a great,
It's great, isn't it?
great out of a bottle mixer. I mean, if you're not going to make stuff yourself or you need something fizzy, it's outstanding.
So I just picked one up. I don't know how long it's been out, but it's called Yuzu and Lime.
Oh,
That they just put out. That thing is
sounds
fantastic.
great.
Yeah.
So it looks like you're putting maybe one part of your cocktail, your mixed cocktail, and then 2 parts of the ginger beer. Is that right?
I'm actually doing equal parts.
Okay.
So this has already been diluted pre-batch for as you
Okay.
do with our everyday cocktail because we don't have ice on the show. There's no refrigerator or freezer, so we figure we keep it simple. We keep it crispy.
Nice.
It's for the gentlemen. So yeah, this is something that's fun to drink. I think of it like it's an outdoor
Oh,
cigar.
you can smell that
Ooh,
That Ardbeg.
Ardbeg right
for
off.
sure.
It's interesting though because I've never smelled Ardbeg with carbonation. That's an
That was the first
interesting
for every-
blend of
Well, this
nose
is
there.
no, you're absolutely right. And both of these cocktails that you've done, these are like very unusual cocktails. Most places when you go get a cocktail, you're expecting something that's a little sweet, that's got maybe a little bit of fruitiness to it. But with your first one, it was all about that tobacco-y smoke.
Oh, yeah.
Now you're all about the peat smoke from the
plain-
Ardbeg.
yeah.
To all my
absolutely.
friends who compare Ardbeg and Lafrague and the like to a Band-Aid.
Yeah.
It has that slightly medicinal smell. This is like a sweet, delicious Band-Aid.
It's
I don't-
it's got
I don't
Snoopy
know.
on it, right?
I mean that. Yes, it's good. This has got Snoopy on it. Very nice.
Ian, I don't think
This
they're,
is-
I don't think they're going to be hiring you to write the drink description of the book. I just
What was
I
that?
think you
What
may
was
have,
that? There was
Wait.
a show. There was a movie in the '80s where they hired the insane asylum to do all the ads.
Oh yeah.
to me,
No, I mean this in the best way. This is absolutely fantastic, and it has those flavors that I look for when I hit my PD part of my shelf. I love that.
Can I just say this? This cocktail may be the first one that I've ever had that I think could be correctly described as having mulchiness.
Yep.
It's there.
well, the guava plays really well with the Ardbeg 5-year. Ardbeg 5-year touches on that chocolate, vanilla, oak.
There is definitely a chocolate note to this for sure.
And so guava is you're the one that holds hands with everybody.
there's something in there. There's kind of an orange peel in there too.
Yes, yeah. Oh,
There's
it's,
tangerine orange in
there's
there.
a-
So I, with the hot tea, I've learned a whole new method of creating ingredients by sous vide. Let that natural process happen to extract those certain flavors as opposed to just putting orange
So,
juice.
so it's interesting you say because like when you're brewing beer, you bring up the barley up to a specific temperature to extract the sugars and stuff. So you're basically doing that, but you're doing it in a sous vide kind of
Absolutely.
way.
Well,
You're
yeah.
just doing it within a pouch inside the water to bring it up to that temperature.
Right. So that way it's that.
Isolate it so you're not watering it down. And
Right, and it's that temperature all the way to from start to finish. It's not like gradually increasing the temperature.
because you can pre-temp the water.
Right.
And then you pull. Oh, yeah, that's absolutely clever.
Controlled.
Wow.
And then add a little bit of potassium sorbate to it, and it lasts in your fridge for about 6 more weeks.
Nice.
I don't know if I would ever have guessed that these flavors would go together the way they do.
They do, don't they?
They really do.
We got a comment that just says, "Oh no, 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 no."
Well, I was going to say this cocktail is not for everybody.
I have never had
but
a
the
cocktail.
people who like it are going to love it.
I have never had a cocktail made with Ardbeg before, ever.
Yeah, I would
And this is awesome.
Yeah. Now you're a fan of the PD scotches, so you would almost have to be for this cocktail to let you up this
It
way.
smells so interesting and good. I love that.
It's like a Ron Swanson lemonade.
It's almost like it's almost like the Ardbeg and the
guava.
the guava. It's almost like they're rolling around on the floor wrestling.
It's so weird.
You know what I mean? It's like and not in a. They're not necessarily fighting each other, but it's such an interesting combination.
And then there's that ginger zing in there,
Uh-huh.
Just cleans it.
You imagine having that after smoking your lawnmower cigar, just getting done with the lawn. I mean, perfect summer.
I'm liking it. Did the idea for the cocktail book come about before the pandemic, or is this something that happened
During.
During.
Well, I mean, it was like after when we reopened and we were starting up again, and after about 1 month of just making 6 new cocktails every week, Pete was just like, we should write a book about this.
Well, no, I mean, really, him and I had a lot of discussions, like the challenges of a bar staying in business, like how do you shake things up,
Right. How do you do something a little different? Keep in people's minds so that when they do go out, that you're a place that they'll choose.
Is there
Right.
basil in there too?
Absolutely, man, the finest.
I'm just keep finding more and more flavors in here.
It's that Mongolian basil I was
It's just
mentioning
actually
earlier.
from Lubbock, Texas. It's a little cheaper right now.
I bet.
But no, I mean, it's just every bar does the same thing, right? So what makes you stand out, And for us, it's really about what we craft, right? So we challenge ourselves to get better by saying, hey, we're going to do a cocktail book by March, which we got detoured for about a month.
Mm-hmm.
But and it really just helped us learn so much. I mean, it's been one heck of a ride this past year and a half. Challenging ourselves to do 6 new. I mean, it's hard. It's like you coming up with 6 new paintings every week. Like, it's tough.
Yeah.
But you really kind of get challenged to dive into understanding every ingredient. How can you make something more pleasurable, more memorable? And so we went that route. And so that was our challenge.
Have
Wow.
you found a use for Malort yet?
Yeah, absolutely. If it's your birthday, you get it free.
We talked about this last time. I got you.
I understand, by the way, that before Coors Light was offering free beer for your excess stuff, Malort was offering free Malort, but no one was taking them up on it. So
This guy here would ruin people's lives with Malort. That's
yeah,
why.
Absolutely.
I'm sure you would. Actually, I think Malort has probably ruined a lot of lives.
There was a
already.
comedian who would take a bottle of Malort on stage with him and then pass it around the audience. Here, have some. And he said it'd always come back with still having Malort in it.
Yeah, of course it does.
Oh, that was
Yeah.
my bar free shot of choice on that one. It's my birthday. Can I have something on the house? Sure.
Yeah.
Got you. Welcome to.
What was that best slogan for Malort that you had?
Oh, tonight's the night you fight your father.
Yes, that's
Or-
so true.
It's like
Malort, these pants won't shit themselves.
It's like being picked on in the 5th grade.
Oh yeah. There's just nothing quite like it.
There was a Thrillist article about Malort that had all the fan slogans that he come up with. It's absolutely just read it. It's hilarious.
I will just say, when your product has been turned into a verb for punking someone, you know you're really dealing with
You
something.
laugh about this. We are going to have a cocktail in that book. It's going to be a Malort cocktail, and it's going to be
really?
damn delicious.
Okay, you're gonna have to bring it on.
All right, so
because I've Malorted him twice.
Oh yeah.
So honestly, I have to try this because I'm I'm sitting here right now in complete disbelief that could
I also
actually be
have
done.
half
Oh,
a
it can
bottle
happen.
of Besk at the house too.
I mean, hey, you Zima, you put a Jolly
Yeah.
Rancher in it, right?
Yeah.
Or you put a
is
Mickey in the
arguably
fridge and
worse.
Right,
put a little bit of lemon, it turns to slushy. You can make anything taste
Do
good.
some with grapefruit.
You just have to
Even
understand it.
Malort?
I bet you we could.
Oh, okay. I will be looking forward to this. I'll be out to try this. Where are you now in terms of the Ready Room? Are you open to 100%? Are you still restricting space? What's
Well,
the current situation?
We're not open to 100% just quite yet because it's still kind of fresh with the whole community. Like, there's some people that just want
I
to go
think
back
that's
to
right.
normal and no mask it and just go everywhere. But there's also that hub of people that still want to feel safe when they go out.
Right,
And they still
absolutely.
want to, it's still COVID's still a thing relatively. So no, we're not 100%. We still do the live jazz on Fridays and Saturdays. We do now take reservations, or what we call appointments, just so that it's more controlled for
So you
both
make sure
parties.
you've got a table or a
Right.
place
And it's
to
a
be
more
able to-
enjoyable experience. Think like lounge, like
Right.
jazz, like kind of lounge where you sit down, you have great drinks, smoky drinks, refreshing, crispy drinks, and
You
don't
still
have
have
to
a
deal with-
patio available for cigars?
Absolutely.
We even have cigar ashtrays
Yeah.
because we encourage
Love
that.
it. Ian, have you got any of the that one guitar left in your cup?
No.
Okay, is there any left in here? All right, pour yourself a little more. I want you to experience what I just did when I went from the cocktail. What is this cocktail called?
I call that the Wee Bee Crispy.
The Wee Bee Crispy.
Crispy.
When I went from the Wee Bee Crispy back to the IPA, I had a very different IPA experience. I want to see if you have it too.
It turns the IPA into grapefruit juice.
Yes, it does, and it's still got a little bit of
I'm out.
the.
I'll try it, though.
It's still got a little bit of the
You can
smoky
also-
Ardbeg in it.
You can also taste the malt a little cleaner in the front of the flavor, but it kind of turns it into a malty pineapple.
This is what happens when you hang out with us. We
Or grapefruit.
constantly are trying how one thing influences the other. It's been part of our experience.
Really interesting.
Yeah, it's really an interesting.
So is that a
contrast.
good thing or a bad thing? 'Cause I know we use interesting in the weirdest ways, right?
Well, this is a neutral thing because it doesn't
yeah,
make it.
I don't know if
taste
it makes it
bad.
better, but it doesn't make it bad. It's just
Yeah.
an interesting change up to me. To me, yeah.
it's like a gobstopper.
A little bit, yeah.
Absolutely. I think it's the tropical notes that come out of the hops.
I think so. It's
wow,
a very-
that's actually kind of fun.
It is. Yeah, well, you need to just hang out with us because we do that all the time, and we'll do it again because coming up in our next segment here, we'll be trying a Rackhouse Reserve blended ale from Alesong Brewing, and these guys have got their stuff together. I mean, Alesong is just an exemplary brewery. Everything we've tried from them has been amazing. So the Rackhouse Reserve is a blended ale aged in Kentucky bourbon barrels. There's more to it. We'll get to that as we come back in our final segment. And of course, it's time coming up for Drinking News. Next segment. We're right back.
How we doing?
Welcome back. It is Smoking and Toasting, show number 226. We are so thrilled to have you guys here, and we're thrilled to have Peter and Cody from the Red Room and from Ritual. How is Ritual doing, by the way? Things
They're
things
doing
going
all
well
right.
at
They're
Ritual?
hanging in there.
Yeah, hanging in there through all the COVID stuff and
Yeah.
and getting back out. I have noticed that after spending some time doing nothing but takeout, getting a chance to go back into a restaurant
Was hard for you?
no, it was an experience. Like I had more appreciation for it. I
Okay.
felt like being able to go back in and go, God, I missed this. I missed being able to just go in, and everything's taken care of. You don't have to go pick it up curbside. You don't have to wait for DoorDash. DoorDash, which I'm convinced, in some language we haven't learned yet, means your food is cold and it took a long time to get here. I'm convinced that's what DoorDash means. But
do you like wear the medical kit fanny pack
Yeah.
when you go out? Got
Yeah.
the gloves and your
Yeah.
sanitizer and all that.
Yeah, I figured out if I wear one of those masks that looks like I'm about to rob the bank, that it's it's extra safety, and then I put the K95 on top of that, so I look like Birdman basically when I go out. It's a pretty big thing. Well, gentlemen, I don't think we were doing drinking news the last time you were on the show, so
Nope.
perhaps I should explain the drinking news, which has quickly become one of our most popular segments, which tells you a lot about the program, actually. But drinking news is where we share stories with our guests and our listeners that may be but are not necessarily about drinking, but that are always probably best enjoyed when you've been drinking.
Like it.
It's drinking news.
Drinking news, drinking news. Now it's time for drinking news. Drinking news, drinking news. Now it's time for drinking news. A Florida man with one arm had a gator for a pet. When I asked about his absent arm, he said,
I had to take my gator to the vet.
drinking news, drinking news. Now it's time for drinking news.
Cheers, y'all. So today's drinking news story is not a Florida man story. In fact, it's not a.
So that guy was from Ocala.
It's not. Yeah, it's not. It's not that kind of a story at all. Today's drinking news references something that you may have heard about that happened last year. Are you familiar, gentlemen, with Gwyneth Paltrow's candle company called Goop?
Oh yeah, and it's a smell of her
No.
flower.
Yes,
No,
absolutely.
dude.
So
I
Gwyneth
bought one.
Paltrow.
No.
Did you do
Not
that?
teaching.
No.
So Gwyneth Paltrow has a candle company called Goop, G-O-O-P.
Yeah.
And her most popular candle that she has released, which sells for somewhere in the neighborhood of $60 to $70
For a candle?
for a candle.
How big's the candle?
Where
It's
has
just
that
your
candle
normal
been?
Sized candle.
Small.
Well, here's the thing. The name of the candle is "This Smells Like My Vagina." So that's where.
Brought to you by Goop.
Yeah, brought to you by Goop.
Something fishy around here.
Yeah. So here's the thing. It sold out immediately when they put it on the market, and so it actually led to them releasing a sequel. And I'm not making any of this up. As the song says, I got a story, and I swear it's true. The sequel candle was called "This Smells Like My Orgasm." Yeah, yeah. This
was
is
going
Gwyneth.
the other way.
This is Gwyneth. So you
Sounds
can.
mulchiness.
Quite frankly, you can never watch Avengers the same way again. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Well, Jodie Thompson of Kilburn, North London, told a London newspaper that she won one of these anatomically inspired Gwyneth Paltrow candles in an online quiz. But she got more than she bargained for when she went to light it. The Gwyneth Paltrow vagina candle exploded and emitted huge flames in her house with bits flying everywhere. She said, "I've never seen anything like
Wait,
it."
was that the orgasm one?
was about to
this
say,
this
dude.
was the
I mean-
vagina one. Yes. So I've never seen anything like it. The whole thing was ablaze, and it was too hot to touch. There was an inferno in the room. However, eventually, she said that she and her partner David Snow were able to get it under control and throw the vagina candle out the front door of their home.
Sounds like the beginning of every relationship, right?
She said it could have burned the place down. It was a little scary at the time, but funny looking back that Gwyneth's vagina candle exploded in my living room. She also shared photos with the outlet of the aftermath, some of which we're sharing with you here now. And she said that the candle melted and warped gold label on the black glass container showed the devastation of what happened. It's a $75 candle, and it sold out when they released it within a matter of hours. And the scent, they say, is composed of, and you guys who put like drinks together will appreciate
Oh, I'm
this.
waiting for it.
The scent is composed of geranium, citrusy bergamot,
Okay.
and cedar, juxtaposed with
Cedar.
damask rose and ambrette seed. I don't know what that is. You know what that is?
No.
So it's meant to be funny, gorgeous, sexy, and beautifully unexpected.
Well, it was beautifully unexpected.
And
all right.
what could be more unexpected than a shower of sparks flying all over your living room every time you light it? So
What
the
did she do to her vagina to make it smell like that?
I don't know.
It's called The Avenger.
Or to make it explode. Well, there you go,
She
ladies
just
and
throws
gentlemen.
money at it.
Gwyneth Paltrow's candle not only has a unique and different scent, but You may have to watch what happens when you light it.
Drinking
It could explode in your living room.
Well, so you can sell that to Coors Light for your junk.
Yeah.
Drinking news. Drinking news. That was time for drinking news.
Cheers, y'all. You'd probably get all 60 cans of Coors Light if you
Oh, absolutely.
were clearing out stuff and it included a Gwyneth Paltrow vagina candle.
I don't know.
I'm guessing.
They send you a Coors banquet after that.
If anyone listening or watching has actually had the opportunity to sample the scent of this candle, we'd love to hear from you in the show notes. Is it like
Curious too.
is it like a total disappointment? Like is it just named that, but it smells like any other
Hey, man,
candle?
Does the carpet match the...
Does the carpet match the
Pubes.
Yeah, there you go.
I don't know. That sounds like a pretty good addition for Ready Room.
No, dude, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that.
About a half an hour before closing time, light that on the bar.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, no,
Call
Maybe-
it Friday Night Lights.
maybe not.
Oh, God.
Maybe not. Let's try some beer here, Ian.
I'm working at it.
This is Alesong.
See, unlike the whiskey or the tequila or rum that you bring in, you did not pre-open this.
That's true. Often
You didn't
I do
take
try to
the,
make it
oh.
easier on you
There
when
you
it
go.
comes to rum and whiskey and tequila.
Yeah, you usually try to make it a little bit easier. Do you have a bottle opener with you by any chance?
I think you just wanted to bust
There
out
you
that
are.
Rambo knife.
Oh yeah.
See, for us, it's just a bottle.
It's not
opener,
Rambo.
right?
That's a Bruce Blades.
Fair enough.
Oh well, there you go. Fair enough. Exactly.
Not a lot of sound. It was covered in plastic.
Yeah, that's all right. That can happen.
A
You have enough-
Rackhouse Reserve. I'm not sure what that means.
I'm not either, but I know that they age a lot of ales at Alesong in different barrels and different styles. So
We'll read the bottle in a moment here after I'm through pouring it.
awesome. Thank you.
Smells good from here anyway.
Hopefully, I didn't let this one sit in the cellar quite as long. So
I don't think we should sample the cocktail and this beer. I think that can kind of go on. This is pretty dark.
All right. So while you're tasting, I'll read off the back of this.
all right.
According to the Surgeon General, women should not drink alcoholic beverages.
Especially Gwyneth Paltrow.
Oh man.
What has she been drinking when it catches on fire?
Yeah.
After tasting
Fireball.
through our rack house of spirits, barrel aged beers, we selected a complex blend that evolves as you drink. Rack House Reserve incorporates ales aged in a variety of bourbon barrels for up to 18 months, culminating in a harmony of warm flavors reminiscent of caramel, toasted marshmallow, spicy oak, and dark chocolate. I think they were just going for like how many syllables can we get? in
Right.
every
How much
word
can
on
we
this
put in one description? Yeah.
Oh no, it's actually pretty good. It reminds me of something.
Like a song, each beer is our expression. The enjoyment and interpretation is yours. So,
Well, Ian, I'm anxious to get your take on this because this to me feels like it's right up your alley.
this is a paltry 12.5%.
Yeah, that's all. Just 12 and a half. Just 12 and a half. It is quite boozy. I will say that.
It is.
It is boozy. It's like dates and booze,
And raisins. Oh my.
caramel.
You guys know
There's a
about
great charred oakiness going through this
For sure.
too. It's like really
For
nice.
sure.
Are y'all familiar with the brewery up in Canada? I think not Omegang. I'm sorry, Omegang's New York. They do the Lafendamons and the Ephemers.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
I've had Lafindamon. Yeah.
This kind of reminds me a little bit like that, married with a little bit of Chimay Red Double. Where it's like it's very heavy, it's very stout, and then you put a little cream into it, marshmallow.
It's definitely got that bourbon barrel aging
Well,
vibe
this
to it, though.
what does it say here? It's
I don't know, but it's
doesn't
a
say
lot,
much
it's
about
a
it,
lot
but
of
yeah, I can
syllables,
see
whatever
it
is.
has a fruitiness to it that you get a lot of times
sort of a
from
date
you
and
mentioned the
raisin
Chimay
fruit?
and that kind of, and Findamon, which are both Belgian style golden ales, and those are absolute favorites of mine though. And if you haven't had, have you had Meridsu before?
I have, I love it. Which one? The 8 year?
So so good, and the 10, and it's just so good. Anyway, but I was at this great little German bar in Fredericksburg called Der Deivel. I think I talked about it.
Fredericksburg, a great little German enclave in Texas.
It's owned by these two German ladies, and they're hilarious because I walked in and like Cradle of Filth is like the latest thing they play in there. I walked up to the bar and I was like, I'm looking for angry music. Has anybody seen any angry music around here? And she laughed at me and she goes, we have the most aggressive music, but everyone in here is so chill. And her German accent's so funny. But yeah, that was like she had a bunch of those kind of beers, and that's what I was drinking that whole weekend there. It's pretty nice. This is really, really fun. This is outstanding. This tastes like I guess they say it's a blend of ales. So it's a blend of ales that they have. I don't know what it is. Bottle date 9/2020. 6-year Woodford Reserve barrels.
Okay, now you're talking.
4 to 10-year Heaven Hill barrels and 6-year Four Roses barrels.
So they basically are just these guys are just going nuts with the barrels. Like
they're just blending.
Yeah, we'll do a little of this, we'll do a little of that. Yeah. Well, let's see what comes out.
It's an interesting color because this didn't start off as a porter or a stout. This started off, I think you're right. I think it started more as a Belgian style golden or triple or something like that. It's pretty big.
I mean, it's almost like you got that malt dextrose in the back of the throat. Which is pretty typical of Belgian beers.
That sort of malted milk ball kind of vibe. Is that what you're talking about?
I love that.
Yeah. It's really, really pretty awesome. Well, while we're enjoying the, what is it, 12.5, Ian? A paltry 12.5, as you said?
A paltry 12.5.
Yeah. It might be a good time to tell you a little bit about beer goggles from a scientific...
I do want to hear about beer goggles.
From a scientific point of view.
I'm going to interrupt super quick. I'm going to try the very first beer, the Lagerish, nice and warm.
Oh, you're going to go back when it's warmer. Okay.
Still good. It's actually a little crispier almost.
When it's warm.
Interesting word of the day.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah,
so it's got to be interesting, too, going back from this ale and going back to that.
Cuts through okay. The malt cuts through just fine.
Very nice.
Yeah, I'm going to be buying some of that Lagerish. That's going to be like on my way home.
Yeah, well, you should be able to find that because that's local here for us. So shouldn't.
All right, tell me about beer goggles.
So,
I've put them on and I never remember taking them off.
Right,
But, man, I know they're gone when they're gone.
Well, I can tell you that I'm going to say a sentence right now that's going to combine two things that you never thought would be in the same sentence. A medicine and biomedical engineer recently explained on TikTok.
Hold on.
You know where I'm coming from here. Yeah. Recently explained why getting a little wasted boosts the beauty of basic barfly faces. Yeah. Alcohol, he says, in the most Captain Obvious statement ever, alcohol is absolutely amazing. That's what he said. Dr. Karl Kruzelnicki. He is a leading science commentator.
He's like a prophet.
Yeah. And he has shared this now viral info vid to his verified TikTok account. Dr. Karl Kruzelnicki, Kruzelnicki, if you're trying to look him up on TikTok, because I know you got your TikTok account. Kruzelnicki, yeah. He says, alcohol is absolutely amazing. It can strip oil stains off a garage floor, but it can also change your human perception of reality. He's Australian, by the way. And they look at things a little differently.
Can you do this in an Australian accent?
I can, but you really don't want me to. Trust me. You don't want me to. Kruzelnicki, a one-time... This is a great sentence. I'm going to read it to you just like it's written in this article. Kruzelnicki, a one-time NASA astronaut hopeful turned social media superstar. I can be described as a NASA astronaut hopeful. And when I was a kid, I wanted to be an astronaut. Is that what it takes to be described as a NASA astronaut?
I went to space camp.
Hopeful, yeah, exactly. You're even better than a hopeful. You were a step down the journey. Anyway, he pointed to a scientific study on the effects that alcohol has on the perception of college-aged students. The research conducted in 2003 sought to determine how...
It still works when you're older.
Yes, it does. This
like
research
well into your 30s.
sought to determine how the booze shaped your sexual attraction. And when it came to rating the attractiveness of other people, women found men, you'll love this, women found men a little more attractive, but men found women a whole lot more attractive after consuming enough alcohol for the beer goggles
Now with
to appear.
my lord, it doesn't work that way.
It actually has
His videos,
negative.
his videos had over 400,000 views so far. They call this increase, he says, in the facial awareness index. And the rest of us call it beer goggles. He went on to say cheers, and people have toasted him for his intoxicating science update. But fans flooded his comments with different banter about vodka vision and wobbly wine wisdom and all of that. But he says that there really is a scientifically measurable factor here, and that's essentially what the study did. And what they found was that women found men slightly more attractive, men found women way more attractive.
Pre-COVID, post-COVID.
I can
It's pre-COVID.
I can break down my drinking experiences to 3 stages.
Yeah.
Okay. There's the drinking, and this is stage 1.
Okay.
Eventually, after you do the drinking, you reach a stage that I like to refer to as the knowing.
I love this already.
And you know what I mean. When you hit the knowing, you like to talk about it.
Yeah. That's why you have that shirt that says, I smoke cigars and drink whiskey and I know
That's
things. Right.
You hit the knowing, you know exactly where you are. The problem is it's a very slippery slope, and man, your foot can just slip right over the edge into what I like to call the forgetting.
Yes.
Or time travel, if
the
you will.
knowing and the forgetting. Yes, absolutely. I get it. I've been there. There's the drinking, the knowing, the forgetting, and the trying like hell to remember. That's the last stage.
Well, that's the next day.
Yeah, that's the next day. Yeah, exactly. Well, it's beer goggles really. It doesn't take that much scientific explanation.
No, I could have told you that as a bartender.
As a bartender, you've seen it happen. I'm sure.
There was a Simpsons
Hundreds
where they're
of
at Duffland or something like that, and they have a rack in one of the little stores. It's just beer goggles.
Beer goggles.
I can just see it today. Let me show you my camera real quick and see what happened last week.
Yeah. Oh, I can only imagine. What is that quote from The Simpsons where Homer says, "Beer, is there anything it can't do?" All right, we're going to take a break. We'll be back to wrap the show up. Guys, super big thanks for being on the show this week. The cocktails were amazing and super creative, too. This is not your like Fisher Price My First Cocktail stuff. This is This is really
we got comments on here. One
Really
of them
good.
this is from the vagina candle thing. Courtney says, "Come on, baby, light my vagina." And then, according to the Surgeon General, Gwyneth Paltrow candles can be hazardous to your house.
Yeah, I'm guessing so. That would be a funny thing to read on the side of a beer, though. All right, we'll take a break. We'll be right back to wrap it up. It is episode number 226 of Smoking and Toasting. Welcome back. It's Smoking and Toasting, show number 226. We are brought to you by MyCigarShirts.com. Please go online and check them out. They got great shirts. Ian's wearing one of them today. It says you can't hurry up and smoke a cigar, and it's awesome. And so are the rest of their shirts. Go ahead and try them out. They started under $20, and there's all kinds of cool stuff that you can find there, and new designs are coming soon. So make sure and go back and visit again if you've been there before. Michigan is an interesting state. Now, you've spent a bit of time in Michigan, have you not?
I have some family in Michigan.
You have family in Michigan. So one of the things about Michigan...
They live right here.
Okay, good to know. Thank you for the map.
That's like anyone from Michigan shows you their hand and they're like, I live in this area.
Yeah, right. It makes total sense if you're...
I just got street
Michigan.
cred from everyone in Michigan.
Yeah. By the way, that doesn't work with Alaska, just so you know.
Or Texas.
Or Texas, exactly. But if you're from Michigan, you know that Michigan often screws things up.
Not bells.
But the one thing about Michigan, but the one thing about Michigan is sometimes after they screw up, they eventually get it right, and that's heartening for people like I know our friend Bruce Onsark is from Michigan, and one of the things that they recently screwed up and then got right was that cigar fans in Michigan can now smoke again in cigar lounges. Temporarily, cigar lounges were prohibited from allowing their customers to smoke cigars. And the reason, it was actually a COVID thing. Hold that thought. It was actually a COVID thing because they passed a regulation that said the only reason you could take your mask off in a business was to eat or drink, and that did not include smoking. So as a result, according to the letter of the law, you couldn't take it off to have a cigar in a cigar lounge, even if you were socially distanced and the whole bit. What ultimately happened is that cooler heads prevailed. They realized that they'd missed it, and they amended the regulation to say, yes, you can take them out. You still have to distance. You still have to wear your mask when you're not smoking, but you are allowed to take your mask off to enjoy a cigar in cigar lounge. So I just, we often will talk about stories like this when they're being ridiculous. So I wanted to recognize the state of Michigan for going, oh, oops, we kind of screwed that up, and we'll set it right. I take it we're getting comments.
Oh, we got a beautiful comment from Bruce Stark. When I showed the hand and I said they live right around here, he said, hey, they live near me. Don't try to show me Florida.
Yes, I'm with you on that. Thank you, Bruce. That's a good reminder. So Peter and Cody, thank you guys so much for coming on the show today.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
So tell me a little bit about where things stand now with the Ready Room. You guys are obviously open back. You're not doing 100%, but you're open back. People can make appointments, you said,
absolutely, on our website
for getting a table. So that helps you know that there'll be a table for you when you get there.
Absolutely.
And how is it? Are people coming back? Was it slow? Did people flock back immediately? How has it been?
We got two different points of view, and I'll let you tell your point of view. But for us, I think Cody's been very instrumental about keeping it more of a lounge. People want to
that
belly
more
up.
relaxed kind of vibe, not a bustling.
Well, you
right?
can't. We're not going to let you belly up to the bar. Not right now. I mean, who knows where you've been right now? I mean,
and I've got fresh mint out there, man. I don't need you breathing on it.
I actually don't know where I've been.
But that's the point right there. But we're gonna keep
stage.
it that small and that tight. Probably for about another month or two. Just kind of let everybody get vaccinated. The whole 9 yards, and we'll open it back up again. But what that looked like would be a lot different than what it used to be.
Right. And how does that? So I remember back when I worked in bars, it's been a number of years, but I was a DJ, and our basic mandate was pack as many people in as the fire code will allow.
Sardines.
My job was pack the dance floor and then empty it every once in a while so that people would go to the bar and drink. But that was how the whole business plan was set up. The bar wasn't designed to be, a leisurely place for a smaller group of people to come and just hang out. It was designed to be as packed as possible. How does this impact your thinking for what it means to run a bar going forward?
Well, for me personally, I just think when I think bar, I think myself, I think it's somewhere I can just go to hang out. I don't have to be the guy buying like 18,000 like Starfucker shots or Vegas bombs or something like that. Days are gone. But
It's all about the lemon drops, man.
Oh, true.
Yeah,
true.
Sex on the beach.
You'll know that
Sex on the beach.
you've annoyed me as a bartender if I order lemon drops. Just so you know.
Hey man,
He's like, bring it. Yeah.
$15 would be the best lemon drop you ever had. No, but and that's what I'm finding out now with COVID is everyone still wants that kind of like relaxed space. Like there's people have changed the way they drink now. Before, where they went to go out and party on your Fridays and Saturdays, the weekend.
It was about throwing it back and getting
throwing
crazy.
it back, yeah, just a little bit, depending on what age group you fell into. But there was still always a level of like standardized like Friday craziness. And now I'm finding out more people just want to have a couple after dinner or taking a good show. It's no longer about let's
pounding them
It's
back.
an experience.
Pound it down,
It's an
yeah.
experience.
Well,
Like-
that totally works for me because the older I've gotten, the more it has become quality over quantity.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Right.
So
Yeah, absolutely.
And-
so it totally works for me.
and you're not mosh pitting to get to the bar, fighting through
I don't
2-3
like
deep
crowded
crowds.
places anyway. I'm the guy that if I go to a show and it's super crowded, I don't. My wife will go like fight her way down to the front so she can see the band close up. I'm like, I'll be standing in the back with a beer. I can
Next
see
to
just
the guy
fine.
singing the song.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Exactly. No, but it's exactly true. Like I don't like to be. Maybe it's because I'm mildly claustrophobic, but I just don't like to be packed in. So this kind of vibe suits me better to begin with. But from a financial standpoint, does it make it harder to make the money that you need to make to pay the bills.
It does. And that's why it's a slow rock right now. I mean, eventually we will open up to even more, but we're just kind of playing it by ear.
But again, it's not. Yeah, so we're a place where you can get everything. You can get a Miller High Life, for Christ's sakes. You can get a Coors Banquet. Whatever experience
Yellow Belly.
whatever guy you want to be, or whatever lady you want to be, you can be it.
Love it.
But you're still coming not because of
You can get that $15 lemon drop.
Well,
Yeah.
you can, but
Really
it's really
well
not
made.
about that we don't have TVs. It's about the old days of going out. It's communicating.
I have
that, by
to
the
tell
way.
you, I love a bar that has no TV.
Yeah, I
that
do too.
makes
And
me very happy.
Don't get me
Absolutely.
wrong. If I'm going to watch the game at a bar,
That's across the street.
That's the kind of bar I want to go to.
I like to go to a bar called a sports bar.
Yeah, right.
when I
exactly.
wanna watch
when you want to
sports.
watch the game, right? Otherwise, it's kind of. I'm with you. I love that there are no TVs in the ready room. It just makes it. It's like I'm here to enjoy this kind of bar experience and to try some amazing cocktails and maybe try some things I haven't tried before and really enjoy that part of it. I don't need to see the talking heads on the news channel telling me what they think about this or that or the other. I'm looking to escape that for a little
Right.
while and enjoy some great drinks,
Well, we
Absolutely.
also, if you use your restroom every now and then, you might learn some, beginner's Japanese language in the restroom. We play all kind of weird stuff. But again, it's about the experience. So financially, it is a struggle, but it's not because people know that, they see that, they recognize that, and they
They're-
come for that
They're
experience.
paying for the ambiance, the exclusivity
Love
of
it.
it
Yeah.
all. Yeah.
Love it, love it. And it really fits your vibe being, specialty cocktails are not like, whoop, 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 here's your drink.
Right.
It takes a little while longer. There's more craft involved in the whole experience. So it takes a little while longer to make that. And it's just a more, I think, chill and laid back experience. And
Absolutely.
I think that's that's awesome. How has Ritual, the restaurant, adapted? Have things
Ritual
changed
adapted
dramatically?
Well, it has changed somewhat. Price of beef has gone astronomically high lately. It's gone down a little bit more as things kind of open up a little bit, but it was a big challenge. You didn't have a workforce of a couple hundred people.
Right.
You had 6.
Right.
You worked 18-hour days, and people write Yelp reviews about how horrible the experience was. It's not what they remember.
Right.
They don't
It's
understand
different.
where you came from. And so Ritual has taken the brunt of that, but it's bounced back quite nicely. The numbers are going up.
I've noticed a lot of places have abbreviated their menus. Did you do any of that with
It's-
Ritual?
Well, yeah, we did, but we started to kind of bring those back again. So,
That's very cool.
So you get your, different cuts of beef and stuff like that. So now it's affordable.
Okay, so finally, the cocktail book. You said you were shooting for March. It's going to take a little bit longer than that. Do you have a planned release date, and how many cocktails will be in the book?
Well, Cody and I made the goal of 150.
Yep.
Okay.
And he's not letting up on that. I'm like, so there's some reason I'm like, dude, you got to stop doing this.
Dude,
man.
130's fine. Come on.
Right,
Yeah.
but he's been a really great driver for that goal. But once that happens, we're still in negotiation with each other about how we want the new menu to move forward. But it might just be taking a hiatus and bring back some of the all-star players that happened during that 150 range while we write the book and get that released out. So.
And does the book have a title yet?
No,
Not yet.
man.
Not yet. We're still in talks.
Okay. All right.
Still in
Fair
talks.
enough.
I
So,
mean,
what should we look for? If somebody's listening to this today and thinking, okay, I want to look for that when it comes out. What's the best way to
To follow it?
Yeah, to follow it,
Our
yeah.
social media, honestly, Instagram, Facebook. You can go to our website.
for the Ready
Do you
Room.
have
For the
a
Ready Room, yeah.
TikTok?
No,
No. No, I can't compete on TikTok, man.
no. We
That-
have
that
a
would be your
Twitter. I
goggles.
haven't used that one yet. But,
All right. Well, guys, thank you so much for doing this. The cocktails were delicious,
Thank
super
you.
creative. I can't wait to get my hands on the book and try to make some of these at home, as well as to get back into the Ready Room and enjoy some cocktails with you guys. And I just want to say, as a person who loves cigars and can find it hard to find a place other than a cigar lounge where they're really accepted. It's just super cool that you have kind of made your front porch area there a place where cigars are not only tolerated but welcomed.
Absolutely.
It's a wonderful thing. And with the kind of cocktails that you've got, I would love to try this one with a cigar. So thanks for being here. We have a really interesting slate of shows coming up in the next several weeks, including but not limited to Nathan Berkman of Rio Brazos Distilling returning to the show next week. And then coming up in the next few weeks, St. Arnold will be back on the show.
Awesome.
And Old Humble Distilling will be back on the show. And Garrison Brothers will be back on the show.
Nice.
So we have a nice little lineup coming up
Garrison
that is a
Brothers.
little bit whiskey-centric, but that's okay. And then coming up on the 29th of April, I don't think we've talked about this yet. That will be our last show before Cinco de Mayo.
That's the last show before my birthday.
It sure is. I see your birthday here on my calendar, so I have no excuse to miss it. But coming up on the 29th, the day before Ian's birthday, and several days before Cinco
Don't
de
think
Mayo.
I'm not going up there to get my Malort shot. too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Our
free.
tequila expert, Liliana Rodriguez, will return to the show as
Awesome.
we do the first ever Smoking and Toasting Añejo Tequila blind taste test
Oh, nice.
with Liliana in the house. So you can be
Awesome.
yeah.
If you
can be
guys
looking
hadn't
forward to
watched
that.
the show with Liliana Rodriguez,
Oh,
No, we haven't.
she's amazing. Yeah, she knows more about tequila than anyone I've ever met, and she's just an absolute charm. She's wonderful. So we can't wait to have her back on the show. So all of that coming up. It's going to be an interesting few weeks. Guys, thank you for being here, for being a part of 226. We are halfway to 300, and we're pretty excited about it. Have a great week, my friends. Enjoy your cocktails. Look for this new book maybe
Absolutely.
sometime this summer, right? Is that-
Hopefully.
Okay.
Hopefully, yeah.
Very good. And have a wonderful week. Cheers.
All right,
My
cheers.
friends.
cheers.
I'll be the middle break. Bam, bam.
Cheers, y'all.
I didn't realize it being 2 hours.
Yeah, well...